We're doing things a little different. I'm not just going to tell you my favorite makes of 2024. That's boring. What we're going to do instead is we're doing it award style, and I have come up with several different categories similar to like, you know, your senior superlatives or maybe like an award show. And I'm going to be selecting the winners based on the things that I've crocheted in 2024. I haven't really shared this before on this channel, so I kind of thought that with it being the end of, you know, my second year of crocheting, that it was time for me to share how my journey into the crochet community started. It goes back to 2 years ago tomorrow when our 7-year-old Chihuahua mixed puppy got really sick and we had to put her down. Hey, it's Tammy, Crafty Mompreneur. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be taking you back to when I very first started to crochet, which was really only 2 years ago. The events that led up to me starting to crochet, and it's not really a very happy thing. So I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to take you through a journey through 2024 in the form of, let's just call it like an award ceremony. So it's just a fun way to kind of showcase the things that I've made this year, and it's not all good because I'm also sharing the crochet project that I'm not so proud of. So without further ado, let's get to the video. Now, my very first experience with crochet was probably when I was a kid, and my mom or my sister or somebody taught me like the basics of crochet, and I never really picked up on it. It wasn't something that I ever picked up again after childhood. But then my daughters and I started doing markets with our scrunchies and dog bandanas, and my daughters would go out and come back with the most adorable crocheted stuffed animals. And I kind of got a little bit of the sticker shock when you know, we were shelling out like $35 for a plushie, which I get why now, but at the time I was like, I have got to learn how to do this because I can't keep spending all my money that I'm earning at the craft show on these plushies. So I had the experience of seeing crocheted stuffed animals and being intrigued by it and thinking in the back of my mind that, you know, maybe that's something that I could do. But then about 2 years ago, 2 years ago tomorrow, we lost our little Chihuahua mixed puppy. You guys have seen her sister Sugar in some of my other videos, but we had rescued these two Chihuahua puppies, saw their little puppy pictures and kind of just fell in love with them. And they became my daughter's dogs. And about 2 years ago, Cookie, she just got really sick, and we had to make the really difficult decision to put her down. And she was my oldest daughter's dog, and it was really heart-wrenching to go through that experience where, you know, I've lost a dog before. Like, I had a little Yorkie for 14 years that passed away, just old age, but this was different. I had been wanting to learn how to crochet, and I had gotten like a Joann's gift card. And so I decided that I was going to crochet kind of a memorial stuffed animal of Cookie. And that was going to be my very first crochet plushie. And I didn't know the first thing about crocheting a stuffed animal. And my daughter had actually asked for some crochet stuff maybe a couple Christmases ago. And so I had asked her like if she had her stuff. And I literally just began like trying to learn how to make a ball. Basically, I turned to YouTube, and the very first thing that I decided to learn how to do was crochet a ball. And I found my very first attempt, and this is my first like ball that I tried to crochet. And I wouldn't even know which tutorial I tried at this point, but it wasn't good. Like you can see, like it was, this was just using some old yarn that I had given to my daughter. Then I decided that I was going to try and find a pattern for a crocheted dog that resembled our Chihuahua mix, Cookie. And the pattern, I knew nothing about patterns, about reading patterns, following patterns, like nothing. I literally knew nothing. And again, just turned to the internet and I found this pattern on Etsy and decided that this was the one that looked most like her. I had no idea, didn't know anything about yarn size, types of yarn, hook size. Like, it's been like a trial and error thing for me since the beginning. So I got this pattern, and again, I just grabbed some yarn, started to make the head of this dog in just some random yarn. And this is what it was looking like. This yarn literally is the most difficult yarn to use, but that's all I had. And so I wanted to see if I could get the hang of it. And I thought, you know, okay, if I could make this, then I think I'm ready to like invest in some yarn and go buy some yarn to make this plushie. And it was gonna be my first like big stuffed animal that I was going to make. And again, let me remind you that I had no idea about yarn size, hook size, nothing. And I simply was going to Joann's to find yarn that was similar in color and that could pass for Cookie. Decided that blanket yarn was going to be what it was that we found, and I don't even know how I picked the hook size. I think I just read on the label of the yarn like what hook size it said to use. And here's the pattern, and this is what I made. She's very big, like it's a bigger than life size Cookie. And looking at it now, like this was my very first crocheted stuffed animal. And then we put her collar on her because, you know, this is like my very first plushie. And the whole reason I started crocheting was because our dog passed away and I wanted a little something to remember her by. So yeah, I mean, if you look, the stitches are super far apart because I used a bigger hook size than I probably should have. But for my first one, like, not bad, right? This was a little, like, a few days shy of 2 years ago. I think I finished this in early January of 2023. But it did have a lot of sewing in it. Like, all of the things are sewn on. Like, such a hard project for my very first one, looking back at it now. But I didn't know. Like, I had no idea. And so this is one that special place in my heart because it was the very first one. And she was the reason why I started crocheting. And yeah, so this is my attempt at Cookie. On the 1 year anniversary, I did decide to use some other hook size and yarn and made Cookie in like Parfait Chunky. And again, I mean, it's still a lot of sewing, but when you compare the two, it's funny to look back and be like, okay. That's kind of the story of how I started crocheting. I can honestly say that I've gotten way better over the last 2 years. And mind you, I don't work outside the home. The only other things I do are markets, and this is just what I can focus on. Now I want to share with you the things that I've made in 2024 in kind of a fun way. This year is my daughter's senior year, and as I was making my list, I was reminded of like the senior superlatives or like an award show where you're kind of presenting like the most outgoing or, you know, whatever. And so that's the format that I'm going to be using for showcasing my 2024 makes. And again, this is by no means all of the ones that I've made, but it is going to be the winners in the categories that I've selected. These are going to be in no specific order. I couldn't think of an order to really do them in, so I'm kind of just going to go off of a list that I made, and we're just going to go from there. In the most unique pattern category, I'm going to have to give that to All From Jade and her fidget patterns because I had never seen anything like it before. And this is the only one I have right now, but this is the bee. There's also this caterpillar that I've made, but it's just, they're really cool because it's just like this fidget toy. And I had never seen anything like it. So most unique goes to All From Jade and her fidget pattern. As I was going through my inventory and getting ready to upload everything that I had that I want to get added to my shop on my website, I came across my longest in inventory category. And the winner in that category is this. What is it? Is it a cow? Is it a giraffe? Technically it's a cow, but I've had this thing made and going to markets now for over a year. Still hasn't sold, and it's supposed to be a cow. And it's from Crochet Grove's cow pattern. I don't know if it's just because it's red, white, and blue that it doesn't look like a cow. Like, I don't know. Like, people have told me it looks like a giraffe. Yeah, this one is my award winner for the longest that I've had in inventory. And I will tell you that this pattern is actually really, really good. It has a longhorn cow that looks like this. And I've sold several of them. So my thinking is that it's just the yarn that's throwing this one off, and people can't tell what it is. And I'm also considering maybe removing that white from the eyes, because that was really before I knew what I was doing with the whites of the eyes, and it should be down here. So I might try and refresh this little guy and see if I can get him sold in 2025. Of the crochet related charity projects that I did, the winner in this category is my Scrappy Bears for childhood cancer. And in this particular one, I sold 8 of these Scrappy Bears, and I donated all proceeds to charity. So this was my biggest kind of like fundraiser for the year. And you can see all the little Scrappy Bears here that I made. This pattern is by Cozy Crochet by Tasha. I really do love this pattern. I show one of these being made, assembled in this video if you wanted to check that out. The biggest charity project of the year goes to the Scrappy Bears. Of my patterns that I've created this year, which there were only 2, but the award for my most popular pattern goes to my little toaster treat, aka Pop-Tart pattern. It's a free tutorial here on my channel, and you can find it here. Not only was this a good tutorial for me, but it also was a good seller for me at market. And the next category that I wanted to share was a pattern that people love, but personally I don't love making them, like, because they're pretty time consuming and I don't charge all that much for them. So it makes it like not worth my time as much, other than I know that people really love them. And that's these potted plants, like these car hanging plants. I've made a lot of them over the last 2 years. They take a long time, but they are really cute and people love them. I thought they deserved a shout out in the 2024 video because I did make quite a few of them this year. I did ask my family for, some of the suggestions on some of these categories that I came up with. And this one I definitely agreed with for the cutest category. And this is the little cow snuggler by BK Crochet. I have sold a couple of these, both in the strawberry cow version, but then with the knotted headband. This is the winner for the cutest category. The winner for the smallest plushie that I crocheted, but I do have this picture here and the pattern. And that is for the fruit octos. I mean, I sold all the ones that I made, and so they were popular. I just didn't get a chance to make very many of them this year, but they were the smallest. And to piggyback on the biggest crochet plushie that I made this year, that's going to go to Anchor the Octopus. This is a video that I did where I documented me making that plushie. And it did sell at my very last market of this year. So I will be making another Anchor the Octopus. If you do markets, it's a great piece to have, just be able to draw attention to your booth. A couple categories that I do not have the actual plushies for are my funniest, which would be this llama from the Fortnite game that I made for my daughter. I just can't get it down right now. It's like up in her like stuffed animal like thing. So I wasn't able to get it down, but here's a picture of it, and it's just kind of a funny one. The other one is my most challenging plushie that I made this year was this dragon. And the reason why that one was challenging is because it had so many parts to sew on. I did do a video, me making this dragon is included in one of my really early videos, and I'll go ahead and I'll link that here. I love the way it looks and it's really cool, but I know I didn't charge enough for it based on the amount of just things that went into making that dragon, but it is a really, really cool pattern. The crochet project that took me the longest to make, the winner of this category, is the Eras Tour blanket that I made for my daughter. What is it?
Like?
Open it up.
It's a big old crochet Taylor Swift blanket.
Yeah,
did you make this?
Yes.
Show the camera.
Spin it around so we can
Come
all
on.
see.
You're not supposed to post this on Facebook.
Aw, that's so cute.
All handmade.
Oh wait, that's low-key so sick.
100%
You know how
homemade.
long Mommy's been working on that thing?
Months. Months. On the daily. As soon as you moved out, she was.
She had to hide all her utensils. Where did you hide your utensils? Under her bed.
She couldn't
She
find
couldn't
where
work
she
on it while
misplaced
you were here because you're always downstairs.
Do you get the bracelet?
Yes, because you asked what my favorite song was. I was very confused why you were asking me that.
What do we
soft.
say, Kendall?
It's really pretty. Thank you.
It was definitely a process, and I have a playlist of some YouTube shorts that you can watch here if you wanted to see kind of just the different stages that went through. It's a crochet along that I did with Crochet Bouquet by Jen, and I believe she still has that on her website. She doesn't have you like give you instructions on what to do with all the squares, and I also changed out some of the little appliques that are on it to kind of just fit my daughter more. And so that was definitely the project that took me the longest. When I look back at 2024 and think about the crochet item that was the most popular, or like a bestseller that made me probably the most money across all my markets, and that one is definitely going to go to the Mabel chickens. I can't count how many of these I've made, but without fail, I think I always sold a few of them at every single market that I had them at. Mabel Chickens is going to take the winning spot for the most popular plushie of 2024, in my opinion. Now, when I look at the sheer number of items that I crocheted and which item I crocheted the most of, that category is going to go to these little guys. So I only sell these for $5 each, and that's probably why I make more of them. But since I only charge $5, they're not the best in as far as how much I earn from them, if that makes sense. Now, I can't include all like the good stuff without including something that I'm really not proud of. And so much so that this plushie does not even exist anymore. But I had seen this free pattern from, I think, Rosalie Toys, but I will definitely link it in the description because I think it has the potential to be super cute. But when I made it, here's what that looked like. It was not cute. I took it to a couple markets, and it was one of those pieces that I was almost embarrassed of. And so by the third market of it not selling, I'm like, I've had it. Tore it apart. I took the yarn and I reused the yarn for something else. It was definitely something that I was not proud of. And so it does not exist anymore. And I don't know what it is. I'm just not a big fan of felt eyes. I'm definitely moving more towards embroidered eyes as my favorite. I feel that some stuff does look better with safety eyes, and so I will continue to do safety eyes on like turtles and things like that. Felt eyes, I don't know. I haven't been able to get behind felt eyes as much. The most sentimental thing for me probably this year that I made was the Santa and Mrs. Claus. I think that was just in my last video where I shared the making of Santa and Mrs. Claus for them, and the winner of the most sentimental plushie that I made. There was two projects that I kind of was toying with on where I wanted to categorize them and what their winning status would be. I knew they were winners for me, but I just wasn't sure where to place them. And so after talking to one of my daughters, kind of came up with two different things, because I really wanted to include them both, because not only is this video going to give you ideas on what you can make, but I also wanted it to be a way for me to remember my highlights for 2024. So for this one, the winner of my best modification of an existing pattern goes to my Disney inspired dolls, where I took the Friendly Red Fox's baby princess pattern and modified it just all the different princesses. And I did this just because I love the Disney princesses. My daughters loved them, and they're not for sale on my website. They never will be, but they're just like a piece that I made that I just wanted to include somehow in this video. The other thing that I made that I wanted to make sure that I included in this video because I am really proud of them. So the winner of my crochet project where I did not have a pattern, I freehanded the whole thing by basically just looking at a picture. It's gonna go to, drum roll please, my Inside Out characters. These are not for sale. I do not have a pattern, but I freehanded every single one of these little dolls. So joy, sadness, anger. Oh, he's got something on his face. Anger and disgust. So these I just freehanded, looked at a picture and picked yarn based on colors, based on the picture. You can see her hair is like a mix of just green acrylic yarn. These are my little representations of family Halloween costume that we did one year. And I wanted to try and create something from scratch without a pattern. And this is what I came up with. And I love them so much. I don't know how long they've been around, but something that I predict will be kind of the next Mabel chicken for 2025 are going to be like loaf cats, or maybe like loaf animals. Early on, I made the big ones earlier this year, and those kind of took a while to sell. But when I started to make them smaller, like they started selling like hotcakes, and I could sell them for $15 and people were buying them like crazy. So my prediction is that loaf cats and maybe other little loaf animals like this will be the next Mabel chicken. And now for my overall favorite makes of the year category. And it was hard for me, but with the help of my husband, we came up with the Knotted Snugglers by Mama Made Minis. These are the only 3 I have left of the ones I've made. And I think I said in previous videos that I'm only going to be doing embroidered eyes on them from now on. So these are the last 3 that I have that have regular eyes. So I am going to be making more of these for future markets in both this size that comes from the Mama Made Minis book, and I'll link that in the description below, and also their little smaller ones. I don't think I brought one up here, but they also have a mini version where I have a bunch of those patterns that I want to make for 2025 as well. That's going to do it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe because on Sunday we have Granny Square Sunday, and we're going to be going over the plan for 2025 with regards to Granny Square Sunday. Like, what are we going to be doing? I have a couple book options that we're going to look at, so don't forget to tune in for that. And thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. 24 wrap up. I did ask my family for their sheesh kebab. What was I gonna say? The winner for the category of no pattern. I didn't have a pattern. I just freehanded them. So what would you call that? Maybe my best freehand work. My best crochet project without a pattern. Ooh, that's a good one. So my best crochet product, the most likely